and welcome back to the second ever video on this YouTube channel. My name's Harry Evans and I'm here to help you block that binge. If you watched my first video, you'll know I am a recovered binge eater. I used to binge eat frequently, but now I'm class myself as a healthy, functioning human being. Because when I was binge eating, I definitely wasn't healthy and sometimes I wasn't functioning. Today, in this video, I want to go over what is binge eating. In my early days of when I was binge eating, I was unaware of what binge eating was. Then I started to gain a sense of, is this normal? Is what I'm doing really normal? Does everyone do this? That's when I started Googling what is binge eating. I wanted to know whether what I was doing was an issue. I knew sort of that it was an issue, but I wanted more information. So that's why I'm making this video. Before we get started, please do consider subscribing, liking, commenting if you are a binge eater and if you'll need help. The aim of this channel is to raise awareness on binge eating disorders. Characteristic number 1, you lose control. When you sit down and eat your meal, we have a start, finish and end. We make breakfast. We start eating breakfast. We eat breakfast. We finish. And that is it. When you're binging, this isn't how it plays out. You get an urge in your head that, I want something to eat. You'll go in, maybe have a sandwich. Then you're like, I want some more. Maybe you'll have another sandwich. Then you'll go to the cereal. Then you'll go to the cookies. Then you'll go to the cake, so on, so on, so on. But this is a loss of control. You'll be looking in the cupboards and all of a sudden, keep looking, finding anything that you can get on. Sweet, savoury, sour, it won't matter. Whatever you get your hands on, you'll eat. That's when you've lost control. And that is when it is binge eating. That sense of losing control, sense that you can't stop, that is when you know that you've probably started binge eating. That's how I defined it. When I knew I couldn't stop, even when I was thinking about it, I was like, this is binge eating, but I still couldn't bring myself to stop because I was so addicted to bringing that food into me, because I was enjoying it. That's when you're binge eating. Characteristic number 2, you'll eat excessively large amounts. Like in my previous example, somebody may have a sandwich. They'll have a sandwich and that's probably it. They might have a piece of fruit or possibly a dessert afterwards, a drink, so on. That's classified as a normal, healthy meal. A binge eater won't do that. A binge is when you have the sandwich, then you have a bowl of cereal, then you'll have some cookies, then you'll have another packet of cookies, then you might have some crackers, some bread, then back to the cereal. Does this sound like a normal meal? No, and it's because it's not a normal meal, it's a binge. Excessive eating of large amounts is a binge, and that's how I was trying to define it. If I have a large meal, that's okay. I still eat large meals now. Sometimes I'll have seconds, whatever. Sometimes obviously I'll have my tea and then dessert. Happy days. But when you eat excessively large amounts, so if you're eating three packets of biscuits, cereal, some rice cakes and then bread, all in one sitting, or over another period of time, so I'll get to my third point, then this is binge eating. And then you need to identify as a binge eater. Characteristic number 3, the time period. So when you're binge eating, you'll do this in a set time period. You'll have lost control and you're eating excessive amounts. Number 3, the time period of when you're doing it. When you binge, you'll probably do this over half an hour, 20, half an hour, 45, an hour, 2 hours, maybe 3 hours. You'll do it in a set time period. You won't have breakfast, lunch, tea. You're unlikely to binge over the day because it's not really a binge then, because like I said, you're eating excessive amounts. You can only do that like excessive amounts in a set time period. So the time of your binge impacts whether it is a binge or not. If you're binging for, say, 5 minutes, how much you're really going to eat in 5 minutes, it's very unlikely that you're going to eat that excessive amount. Whereas in an hour, how much food would you really eat in an hour? A lot. And it doesn't have to be consecutively, so you can have 5-minute breaks here and there, but over, say, a 3-hour period, if you keep going back for them cereal, cookies and so on, that is a binge because of the time period that it's consumed under. Characteristic number 4, you do it alone. Like I touched on in my last video, I would get excited about the fact of when I was on a night out that I could go home, get a takeaway. This is what I used to do. I'd get a takeaway, go home, eat the takeaway, And then I'd be excited about the fact that because I'd ate the takeaway alone and so on, that I could then go and raid the cupboards. Because I was alone, my mum and dad were asleep, obviously I just got back from a night out, I was then able to eat everything alone. I didn't want my friends, family members knowing that I was a binge eater. I would never do this in front of them, of course not. I prefer not to eat. I would prefer not to eat all day while I was with people, and then when I got home alone, I would eat everything. That is a binge. Because we get excited about the fact that we can binge everything while we're alone. We know our family members, our friends would know this isn't normal, so they would say something. We don't want them to say something, so that's why we do it alone. We know we can only do this. We know we can only do this when it's just us. So majority of the times, when you're alone, that's when the binge urges will hit. That usually is a trigger. And I'll discuss triggers in a later video. But when you are alone and you start this excessive amount of eating, losing control under a set time period, all these characteristics, they go into the fact of this is what a binge is. So if you have them three factors: excessive amounts of food, time period, loss of control, all while you're alone, that's going to lead to a very big binge. So I'm not telling you never be alone, but just something to consider. Characteristic number 5, you'll feel ashamed. I know I did. Like I touched on, when I binged on a Saturday, I never used to eat a single thing on a Sunday because I felt that ashamed of what I've done. How I classify a binge is intrinsically, you know you've done something wrong. You know that it's not normal. Now when I have a large meal, I'd be like, I probably shouldn't have ate so much. Do you know what I mean? I probably ate a bit too many calories for that day. But when I was a binge eater, there was a sense that I knew this was wrong. Even when I was doing it, I knew it was wrong. But that won't help. Once you've done the binge, so say it's the next day, like you fell asleep and it's the next day, or potentially later on in night, you'll feel ashamed. And usually it will be the day after, because when you binge, this happens at night. You eat so much, you fall asleep, and then the next day you're like, oh, why did I do that? Why did I do that? And you feel so ashamed. Sometimes so depressed. And to be honest, don't worry about it. I know it's easier said than done, isn't it? But people do this. This is what happens. It's not just you being disappointed and ashamed of yourself. Everyone who's a binge eater likely feels this way, so you're not alone. Please don't suffer in silence. But then 5 things, I feel, is what categorises a binge. If you are feeling ashamed after a binge, please do just jump on here, hit me up with a comment, and I'm sure I can help you. I wish I knew that so many other people were suffering from binge eating when I was going through it. I thought I was the only one, but I'm here to show you that you're not the only one. And these 5 characteristics can help you define whether you are binge eating. So that's today's video, what is binge eating. If you did like the video, please consider subscribing. If you are suffering from binge eating, please do contact me in the comments under here. You can also get me on Instagram at Block the Binge, and I'll be producing way more videos, way more tips and tricks to help you stop binge eating. So that's been today's video. Thank you very much. I'll see you next time.